What if I told you that the eggs sitting in your refrigerator right now may be a very valuable element of your diet? Or, depending on how you handle and prepare them, a source of difficulties you may not have considered. And no, I am not saying you should quit eating eggs. In reality, eggs can be a great food for a lot of folks over 60. They are an inexpensive, simple, easy-to-prepare source of quality protein and essential vitamins and minerals. But there is a catch. The biggest problem usually isn't the egg. It's what you do to it before you eat it, how you cook it, what you put alongside it, and how it fits into the rest of your diet. Some mistakes are merely habits that are bad. Others may raise the risk of foodborne illness. And something about eggs and cholesterol that you may have heard years ago is a lot more convoluted than you were led to believe. So if you have been eating eggs for decades, stick with me. Because by the conclusion of this video, you'll know the 7 pitfalls to avoid, and you'll know how to make a simple egg breakfast a lot more senior-friendly. Welcome to Lure Health and Lifestyle by LureMax, where we share science-backed health facts and practical healthy aging advice to help you stay healthier, stronger, and more active after 60. Let's start with a mistake that has nothing to do with cholesterol or calories. It is to do with safety. The first mistake is eating eggs that are raw or undercooked. Or maybe you want a soft, runny yolk. Maybe you create your own mayo. Maybe you like to taste uncooked cookie dough. Or you have a family recipe that requires softly cooked eggs. Perhaps you've been doing this for years. No problem. But there is one thing that changes as we get older. As we age, our immune defenses may weaken. Adults age 65 and older are among those believed to be at higher risk for serious complications from foodborne disease. Sometimes eggs can contain salmonella germs. Also, you cannot determine by looking at the shell or smelling it or verifying the freshness of the egg whether it contains hazardous bacteria. That's why it's so tricky with foodborne sickness. The egg may seem perfectly normal, but it can make you sick if there are hazardous bacteria and you eat the egg raw or undercooked. Symptoms include diarrhea, stomach pains, fever, nausea, and vomiting. For certain elderly persons, particularly those already medically vulnerable, dehydration or infection can become considerably more serious. What do? You don't have to kill eggs. All you need to do is handle them safely. For most at higher risk, the safer option is to cook eggs until the white and yolk are solid. For recipes that call for raw or undercooked eggs, pasteurized eggs are a safer option. And if you like a soft yolk, you don't have to panic necessarily. How likely you are to get sick depends on your health, the eggs you use, and how they're prepared. The key is to know the danger rather than assume that if an egg looks clean, it's automatically safe. And that takes us straight to mistake 2. Even if you cook your eggs to perfection, you still can create a food safety concern before the egg even hits your plate. The second error is incorrect storage. Imagine the scenario when you go home from the grocery store. You took the milk away. You put away the veggies. You put the meat away. And maybe the eggs sit on the counter while you finish the rest of the stuff. That may sound innocent, but eggs are not long-lived. Food safety guidance says that eggs bought from shops in places such as the United States are usually refrigerated and should be kept cool. Refrigerated goods should be kept at a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius or lower, or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The rationale is straightforward. Bacteria develop slower when it is cold. And here's another issue most people don't think about. If chilled eggs are allowed to warm up again, condensation can accumulate on the shell. This could generate a potential condition for more easy bacterial migration. So don't make your refrigerator work more than it needs to. Store eggs in refrigerator. When you're done with them, return them to the fridge. And keep an eye on those carton storage directions and dates. Now, how about hard-cooked eggs? They are convenient. These are great for a speedy breakfast or snack. But fried eggs are still perishable. If you make a few eggs in advance, cool them quickly, store them in the refrigerator instead of leaving them at room temperature for hours on end. Same for omelets, scrambled eggs, quiches, breakfast casseroles, and other egg dishes. And here's a simple rule for you to keep in mind. Don't judge a perishable meal by its smell if you're unsure how long it's been sitting out. If in doubt, throw it out. Yes, it is frustrating to waste food, but it's not worth the danger of food poisoning. Now let's change gears for a while from food safety, since the next mistake is something I see talked about all the time when people talk about eggs. Mistake number 3, turning a good egg into an unhealthy lunch. And this one is really very easy to execute. Look at this breakfast. 2 eggs, then 3 pieces of bacon, 1 sausage link, a fair amount of butter, cheese, brown hashed, white bread, and maybe a coffee or juice with some sugar. It's easy to blame the eggs at the conclusion of the dinner. But the eggs may not be the biggest problem. The whole mix is the trouble. Eggs are packed with high-grade protein and many other minerals. But throwing in huge quantities of processed meat, butter, cheese, and other foods high in saturated fat or sodium can dramatically modify the nutritional profile of the meal. This is vital after 60, because keeping a healthy overall food pattern becomes even more important. You don't have to give up the foods you enjoy, you just need to modify the balance. Instead of eggs with several slices of bacon, try eggs with tomatoes, spinach, mushrooms, onions, or peppers. Go for whole grain toast with a little bit of a healthier spread instead of butter-heavy toast. Add some fruit. Have a drink of water or an unsweetened drink. Suddenly you're still eating eggs, but you made an altogether different breakfast. And there's a thing as well. Healthy eating doesn't require your every meal to look like it's from a magazine. Real life is not like that. Maybe one morning you eat eggs and toast. Another day with muesli and fruit. Another day you have yogurt, fruit, and nuts. It's not about perfection. It's the pattern that you build over weeks and months and years. And it leads us to one of the biggest myths about eggs. My 4th mistake is to assume that because eggs have cholesterol in the yolks, eating eggs must be bad for your heart. It is at this point that the story gets a little more difficult. Yes, egg yolks are a source of dietary cholesterol. That's the truth. But there are several things that influence your blood cholesterol. Your genes, your overall pattern of eating, the kind and amount of fat in your diet, your workout, your bodily composition, your metabolism, and your personal medical circumstances. For many, saturated fat intake has a bigger part in LDL cholesterol than dietary cholesterol itself. One reason nutrition experts are increasingly focusing on the total diet rather than labeling particular meals as merely good or bad. But don't take that to suggest everyone should consume unlimited eggs. I didn't mean that. Your doctor has diagnosed you with high LDL cholesterol, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or other health issues that need special attention to your diet. Your unique recommendations may vary. The question isn't only, are eggs healthy? The better question would be, where do eggs fit into my diet and my health? That's a better question. Think of 2 persons, because every morning they each eat 2 eggs. The first individual consumes them with bacon, sausage, buttered white bread, and processed potatoes. The second one with the spinach, tomatoes, whole grain toast, and strawberries. Same egg. Food really different. That's why looking at the overall eating pattern is so crucial. And if you've been avoiding eggs for years because someone once told you eggs are bad for your cholesterol, don't make a big adjustment based on an old rule or a social media headline. See your healthcare provider, especially if you have been diagnosed with excessive cholesterol or heart disease. And this is where we have to talk about something that gets more significant as you get older. Muscle. Mistake number 5. Relying on eggs as your major or only protein source. Eggs are a good source of protein, but your body needs more than eggs. It needs a variety of foods that contain nutrients, and protein should be highlighted as we become older. Why is this? As muscle is inherently tougher to maintain as we get older, you can see it happening slowly. The supermarket bags that once felt light begin to weigh more. It takes a little more effort to get out of a low chair. You don't walk very fast. Stairs are more difficult. You might not see the changes from week to week, but minor losses of muscle and strength over a few years can make daily living more challenging. And that's why protein, together with regular resistance and other physical exercise appropriate to your health, can have a role in aging well. Eggs are useful, but fish can too. Chicken yogurt, Greek style, cottage cheese beans, lentils, toff seeds and nuts, and other protein meals. So don't think to yourself, how many eggs should I consume every day? You might try asking, am I getting enough protein from a variety of healthy foods throughout the day? That's a far more useful question. And here's another thing that surprises many older individuals. You don't want all your protein squirreled away in one meal necessarily. A practical approach to supporting overall protein intake is to include protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Individual needs differ, of course. Someone who is really active will have different needs than someone who is inactive, and certain kidney problem sufferers may need specific protein guidance. That's why chronic renal illness is one of the times when you don't want to significantly increase protein without consulting to your healthcare physician. Your body is your own, so your diet should be like that. Okay, now let's speak about mistake number 6. This one happens every morning in kitchens. It's all about using too much butter, bacon grease, cream, cheese, or other things high in saturated fat while cooking eggs. Let me say this. I am not claiming butter is a poison. I'm not saying you can never eat cheese. And I'm not claiming one breakfast will determine your heart health for sure. However, if you're adding a lot of saturated fat-rich ingredients to your usual egg dish, then those additions can count. 1 tablespoon turns into 2. 3 turns into 2. A handful is a little cheese. Half the pack is only a few of bits of bacon. And now the egg is not the primary nutritional narrative. The solution does not have to be complex. Use a small amount of cooking oil. Play with spices and herbs. Add some veggies. Use a small quantity of cheese if you like it. Prepare with slimmer accompaniments more often. And try with cooking it. Scram. Eggs poached, boiled, cooked. Omelets stuffed with vegetables. There are numerous methods to serve your eggs without making breakfast a big meal every morning. And here's a method to make a striking distinction. Don't ask, how do I make this meal healthier and change nothing? Ask yourself, what can I add to this meal to make it more nutritious? That little shift in mindset is powerful. Think on what you can add, rather than just what you need to remove. Add spinach. Add in tomatoes. Add berries. Add a fruit. Beans add. Include entire grains. Healthy eating isn't about deprivation. It's about establishing a better plate. And here we are. Error number 7. This could be the most crucial of all. It's the logic that more eggs must be better, because eggs are good for you. The concept can occur with nearly any so-called healthy food. Someone hears blueberries are beneficial for you, so they eat all the blueberries. Someone hears that nuts are healthful and eats them all day. Somebody hears that olive oil is good for you, and they dump it on everything. And someone hears that eggs have protein, and eggs become the basis of every meal. But healthy eating isn't about discovering one miraculous food. It's the differences. Your body needs several different nutrients. Eggs supply some. Others are from vegetables. Some others need fruit. The others get whole grains. Beans and lentils for the others. Fish and other protein foods have different nutrients. Nuts and seeds provide healthy fats and other nutrients. That's why a mixed diet is so vital. Eggs can fit in that photo. They aren't meant to be the whole image. And there's another reason this is important after 60. Your calorie demands can alter based on your exercise level and body composition. At the same time, your requirement for lots of vitamins, minerals, protein, fiber, and other nutrients doesn't just disappear. That implies the quality of your dietary choices gets more and more crucial. You want your food nutrition packed. And eggs can definitely achieve that. But recall what eggs do not supply. They contain very little dietary fiber. Eggs and sausage alone for breakfast means missing out on a chance to add fiber-rich foods that support digestive health and contribute to a heart-healthy dietary pattern. Try adding some vegetables. Serve fruit on the side. Select oats or whole grain toast. Or eggs and beans at once. A small addition can make a huge difference to the overall nutritional balance of the meal. And the last thing I want you to remember, because it can save a lot of confusion. There is no one-egg-fits-all guideline for persons over the age of 60. Your age makes a difference. Your medical history matters. Your cholesterol levels are important. What counts is your overall diet. Your medications and medical conditions may be relevant, and your doctor's advice may not be the same as your neighbor's. Someone with chronic renal illness may need tailored protein recommendations. Someone with cardiovascular disease may need special attention to saturated fat and overall quality of the food. If you have diabetes, you might want to consider about what you're eating with your eggs, especially refined carbs and sugary drinks. And someone who does not have these problems may have a lot more flexibility. So don't compare your diet to your friend's diet just because you are both over 60 years of age. Your bodies don't match up. Your medical histories are different. And your nutritional needs aren't necessarily the same. So what do you actually do tomorrow morning if you've been eating eggs for decades? Relax, don't waste your eggs, and don't go off and do some crazy diet you saw on the internet. Instead, make a few minor improvements. Eat safe, cook your eggs, keep them in good order. Think about what else you have on your plate. Include veggies or fruit. Eat more whole grains. Watch out for lots of butter, processed meats, and other meals high in saturated fat and sodium. Include various sources of protein throughout the day. And most importantly, look at your complete nutritional pattern, not just judge one dish in isolation. As healthy aging doesn't come from one superfood, and it's not to do with cutting out one food altogether either. It is the result of the thousands of tiny decisions you make throughout time. Your breakfast food, the walk you walk, the water you drink, the vegetables you put in, the sleep you guard, your strength training, your unmissable doctor's appointment, the medicine you take as directed, the stress you learn to cope with. These choices we make every day can add up. And that's something I want you to be encouraged about. You don't have to change your life tomorrow overnight. You can start at breakfast 3. Eggs are a regular part of your routine? Make them work harder for your health. Eat them with veggies. Add some fruit. Pick a full grain. Limit processed meats. Safely prepare them. And enjoy them fearlessly. Food should not be something you worry about all the time. It should be something you know. And maybe that's the most essential lesson from today's video. Eggs are not just good or bad. They are a nutritious food that can be part of many healthy eating regimens. The true question is how you prepare them, what you eat them with, how often they occur in your whole diet, and what your individual health needs are. So next time you break an egg into a skillet, don't think about whether you've found a miraculous food or a deadly food. See the big picture. Ask yourself, is it safe? Is my plate flat? Do I get enough variety? And does this match what I've been told about my own health? Those questions can help you make much better decisions than fear ever could. And if you've made some of those mistakes in the past, don't beat yourself up. It wasn't like you were doing anything wrong. Nutrition science is still a moving target, and most of us grew up with dietary recommendations that were a lot simpler than what we know now. What you do from here is what matters. Better breakfast. Another good option. Little by little. That's the picture of healthy aging. Not with perfection, by being consistent. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to Lure Health and Lifestyle by LureMax for more science-backed senior health ideas to help you stay healthier, stronger, and live your best life after 60.